The Chicago Bulls and Nikola Vucevic are agreeing to a 3-year, $60 million contract. Let's talk about what this means for the team, if this is a good move, and ultimately, let's just see how we feel about the numbers. Let's do that and more right after this. Now listen, if you're new to the channel, this is your boy PK with the Windy City Breeze. We talk Chicago sports, how Chicago talks. You know why you came. Let's get into the video. We've all been waiting for the news to break. We've always kind of felt like there was going to be some type of agreement between Vooch re-signing with the Chicago Bulls. And we kind of were like, hey, you know what? It's 55, 60, 65 wouldn't be bad over 2 or 3 years. Well, guess what? The number comes out 3-year, $60 million. I don't know if it's actually 60, like 20. I don't know exactly how that stacks up. I don't know if it's escalating or de-escalating. We'll get those numbers later. But it is something that is very reasonable. I think that what he's getting now is comparable to what he was making last year, maybe a little less. And it's actually something that fits his market. Now, do I think he could have been worth more somewhere else? Yes, I think Vooch is a top 10, top 11 big man, both offensively and defensively, and the statistics prove it. However, where he is and him being a third option, was he going to necessarily get that here? We don't know. As an older big man, he may have gotten a little more from a team that could have used him, but ultimately, Vooch is not going to be able to. I don't see a team that's going to give him the starting role where he pretty much dominated most of the offense like he did when he was an all-star in Orlando. So I think this is a good number. I think this is a good fit. And it actually just confirms a lot of the rumors that we already heard. Now, as far as what that does for our cap and things of that nature, we're right where we thought we would be. We thought Vooch was going to get about 20 a year. Again, we'll see exactly how that stacks up. It could be a little more per year, a little less later. Vice versa. But it also is one of those things where could be viable in some trade talks. Now, I don't know, or I don't think Vooch is going to be traded. In fact, I think that would be the worst thing to do out of all the pieces to potentially trade. But what I do feel is that having him on the roster is essential, especially if you are going to stick with one, i.e. Zach LaVine or DeMar DeRozan, who I think ultimately is the most prized possession for us to actually trade, because I do not feel like DeMar, I don't feel like our window is going to be wide enough for him to capitalize off of his current talent. And so that's what I look at. And again, I'm not saying oh, trade DeMar because he's weak or anything like that. I want DeMar to go compete for a championship. I think he's one of the few mid-range assassins who actually absolutely deserves it, or at least another shot. I want to see him on kind of like a redeem thing from the Toronto days, because I thought they were really, really close. But of course, LeBron. And that's what I feel. But this also could just be what we run it back with. And I think people don't really understand that. I think people look at Vooch and they compare him to bigs like Embiid. They compare Vooch to like Jokic, and they say, well, why can't he be that? And it's like, hey, you realize you're talking about the top 2 premier bigs in the league. That doesn't mean Vooch is weak. You're talking about the 1% of the 1%. It's okay to be in the top 5%. It's okay to be top 10 at your position. Like, that doesn't mean he's weak. That doesn't make him. That's not an L. Like, that's pretty freaking good. Vooch can sit there and say, I'm top 10 at my position in the best league in the world. Who doesn't want that, right? And so I like what his contract is. I like the fact that it is still team friendly. It does allow us to kind of, if all we did was run it back, it allows us to do that. Now, I do expect us to sign someone in free agency. I don't know if that's going to be Fred VanVleet. I don't know if that's going to be D'Angelo Russell. I know it's going to be it should be someone within the point guard position that will really help us, because that's ultimately what we need. That's all we really needed. And I think more continuity, a good point guard, a game plan that allows Vooch to really have more input. I think people don't really realize this. Vooch back to the basket is really freaking good. He's a good post player. The fact that he can extend the floor makes him even better. The fact that he can shoot threes makes it even better. He's what you want in a solid big man. He's someone who can play Robin, could even be Batman some nights. But ultimately, he can get it done. And I think that's what you really need to be looking at if you're a Chicago Bulls fan. We shouldn't sit here and just complain about what we don't have. Let's really look at what we have and maximize that. And if Billy Donovan now, and this is where the heat really is, it's on Billy Donovan, can put them in the right position, get them working within a system that fits their skill set and allows them to be, and I'm saying this, I'm choosing my words carefully here, but the two-man game between Zach and Vooch really needs to take a leap. And I think a point guard does help that. If that works out, we could be seeing a very, very different team next season, simply because we just stuck with it and allowed continuity and chemistry to build, which is something they really didn't have a lot of. Zach is top 10 at his position, in my opinion. Vooch statistically is top 10, top 11 at his position statistically as well. DeMar, for a small forward, I believe you can make that argument, at least top 15. We have talent here. We need one more piece to just help direct floor general. And then we need to, again, focus on what we can control. Bulls got a shooting coach. So I'm expecting our shooting percentages to go up. I'm expecting us to look better in that regard. I am expecting us to just go ahead and take a leap. We were 40-42 last season. We were 7 games out of being number 4, number 5. Parity in the league has really taken over. So us keeping our big man is a big thing, and I love the look. But I want to hear your thoughts, man. Do you think this was a good move for the Chicago Bulls? Do you think this is something that we should is this a number that scares you? Is it something that it ultimately is like, hey, this handicaps us more than it helps us? Or even if you're one of these individuals, and I'm not going to be negative about it, but let's just say, for instance, you are the type of person who says Vooch should be traded. Do you think this is a good move for him? Do you think this is a movable contract? Give me your thoughts in the comments, whether it's love, whether it's hate. I'll be in there with you. Till next time. Peace.